Good afternoon, Free Enterprise fans. We have more exciting Threemus Zone action for you this afternoon. Eykir and PixelTamer are both 2-0 in the Hook Group and are playing for a coveted spot in the first Hook Group play-in race.
That's right. We're here with our restreamer Neobari and Tracker Mecha Link to bring you this race, and both of these runners do have the chance to get into the upper play-in here. They're both 2-0 in the Hook route. Eykir came from Golem Group, where it was hard fought with they're actually the second highest combined record in the Hook and Magma routes right now at 5-0 with the players combined. So just goes to show, like, we are seeing more and more extremely close races. PixelTamer had a very, very photo finish in the Hook route as well. So we'll be looking at a pretty great match today. What are we doing with the objectives today?
Well, in addition to the standard forging the Legend Sword with the Adamant, our three objectives are to launch the Falcon, conquer the Vanilla Crystal Sword altar, and raise the Big Whale. Not the kindest set of objectives I've seen in this tournament, but that edge start is going to be a big help.
Yeah, so our key items we're looking for are the Darkness Crystal and the Hook. Really don't need much else after that. So it's nice that it lines up with our Moon Access. You always are looking for that. Passes can be kind of hard to find in these flag sets, so a lot of times you're going to be diving the Lunar Subterrane. We do get the Edge start. That is going to be nice. Pretty much guarantees a speedy opener and early game for our players today.
Yep, which will be very helpful, especially if there's some better swords for him and this ends up being a Hook seed. That Hook route would be a lot less frightening, and it would have the added bonus of getting an objective out of the way. On the other hand, maybe it's a Magma seed and the Hook is tucked away somewhere rude.
Yeah, you always have to worry when the Hook is one of the objectives, because there's always the chance it's buried somewhere in the Lunar Subterrane or in an out-of-the-way position that you wouldn't normally check, and it can get a little weird. And then you might end up trying to forge that Legend Sword instead, because that objective, although it's present in every match of this tournament, has not been very often completed, just because the higher requirements, you need more key items to get it.
Yeah, you have to have both the Legend Sword and the Adamant, and you have to be able to get underground by either Magma or Hook to get the job done.
Yeah, no, that's an often forgotten requirement, and it's definitely not a given in this tournament that you will see the underground. We have had many matches already where the players never touch the underground at all.
Yeah, depending on how the objectives are, that can happen. That won't be the case this time. But it looks like we are underway. So, who is Edge's first companion, and what is our initial key item? Oh dear, look out. And Golbez hands over a package in case Double Edge wasn't enough of a start for you. Have another character check.
If we find another Edge from that package in Mist Village, I was going to make a joke about a double-edged sword, but I don't know what a triple-edged sword looks like.
And yes, Gambit pointing out that is a vanilla package. We have our first bowl of vanilla.
Now, we will see the opening movements of our players here. We'll see what they decide to do treasure-wise. A lot of players have really switched up their opening treasure hunting game just due to the T Wildish flag being in effect for this tournament. It's pretty rare to see the ability to grab such nice treasure in our tournament matches. So we see PixelTamer not interested in treasure at first, though wants to know what characters are going to fill out the party. So checking and finding a Sid and another Edge in the video. Another Edge.
I might just go at this point and stop checking characters and be like, you know what? I have 3 ninjas and a Sid. I'm just going, whoever is the 5th action in this party is not going to measure up. Let's go wreck some things.
Yeah, I mean,
Early on, at least. I'm filling that slot eventually, but just early on, it's like, you know what? Let's just go.
Yeah, I definitely would like to know if there's a white mage available here on the overworld, but other than that, I mean, there's really nothing. There's hardly anything that could give this party trouble in the overworld.
Yeah, most things like, who has time for healing? You're busy killing the ball. You know what? This is fine. This is fine.
Well,
Well, then. I mean, I would be hard pressed to find a more generous start amongst the characters. Maybe give me Tella instead of Sid is about all I could complain, and that's, yeah. Long term, it's going to be tough equipping all of these ninjas with edge game weapons, or end game weapons, excuse me. But for now, this is great.
yeah, I mean, this could be the Zeromus party for sure. Like, we could see every other character in the seed ditched. We are looking, this is a party that wants Bacchus wines pretty badly. So we will be doing a lot of shop checking for that, I'm assuming. And we need underground access for one of our objectives. So we already know we can get sirens thanks to Edge being able to sneak them out of the trap chest enemies in the tower.
Yeah, so sirens are already online.
And we did see Rosa was picked up in the watery pass, and we have seen players looting that a lot more often in this tournament than during previous events. That just comes with the T-Wadish flag. Basically, the treasure level is based on kind of a risk reward. Things that are locked behind key items and things that take more time have better treasure.
And comes back. It always comes back. We're happy for the boomerang because that's going to allow all of these edges to be back row glitched. They can deal full damage from the back row of the party and also deal with pesky enemy formations that have back rows as well.
Yeah, this is looking great. We find Iridia in Castle Damsian. Let's see if anyone takes her. Ooh, and Eykir dropping Sid. Okay. And Pixel instead opting to drop one of those edges.
That's fair. It in the long term, finding swords for 3 different ninjas is rough, and as Wandering Keeper and Mechalink are pointing out in chat, Iridia learns warp very quickly, and the warp glitch is on, so once the runners are underground, they'll be able to use that to check the item in the sealed cave without having to full indeed decent damage. It's comparable to a longsword. It's serviceable all the way through the game.
Yeah, you can't discount the back row items. You might think, oh, they have lower attack power to trade off, but Full Moon is actually pretty good compared to. I mean, Edge only has like 8 weapons total in the entire game, so he ramps up pretty quickly.
And that samurai bow is going to be good in Rosa's hands.
We see both runners here in Antline. I can't disagree. The treasure density is pretty high, even though it's not like top tier treasure. And it's hard to fade it in a situation like this where you need so few key items to win.
And we've just got a Dark Elf in here. There was almost nothing that was going to threaten this party, but Dark Elf certainly isn't.
I can definitely see these players kind of clearing most of the overworld key item spots that they need, and then making sure to do a lot of shop checks up here to find kind of what we would consider the essentials, things like coffins, hourglasses, sirens if they're around. Of course, we do have the normal shop flags on, so it's going to be hard to find the top powered items here in the overworld. You're going to need gated shops or be able to get underground, but we have the hook there in Antline Cave. So we have the ability to do one of our objectives and get underground for those higher item checks.
So Launch the Falcon is now on board whenever the runners feel ready for that dive. One less thing to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we have seen no tele yet, so ordeals is not, really emphasized. But I think I would want a little bit of levels on Rosa before diving the hook, just to give her some actual usefulness before you get down there, even with 3 edges.
Yeah. Typically for the hook route, Blink is a good breakpoint for Rosa. If you get her to that, then that'll help you if either of the spots have a boss that relies heavily on physical attacks.
And we do find Eykir showing off the Hobbs flag. Rydia over there is going to be learning the Mist Dragon, or Shiva, sorry, spell. And it's not a top tier summon, but it's not nothing.
Yeah, it's a bit middling. Also, if he wants to go up Hobbs now, he's actually going to have to walk out and come back in because Shiva does not melt ice. Ninja Star's good money. Cursed Ring is the big takeaway from Hobbs, though.
Yeah, you love to see a curse ring early because the players in this tournament are at a level where they're already thinking about their Z fight composition, how they're going to do agility anchoring, and to have the knowledge that you've already got one is very nice to have this early.
Yeah, you've got with that Rydia in the party, for example, you can go ahead and not worry about having to keep her on the ground. You can slap that ring on her whenever you need to lock down an anchor.
And we were talking about levels earlier, and we see PixelTamer is actually in Castle Eblin looting the trap chest here, trying to get some levels before diving that hook route, but we haven't found hourglasses yet, and these trap chests in Castle Eblin are actually quite dangerous, so it's always nice if you have hourglasses going in here, and if not, you got to kind of be prepared to take a pretty massive beating.
Yeah, the loot in here is great. The Shim pointing out that PixelTamer's already found a Crystal Ring and Zeus Gauntlet, both excellent pieces of gear. But for a low-level party, the danger of the chests and the time you spend on the fights and the resets is a serious consideration.
Now,
Okay.
Eykir's kind of doing a little bit of a different strategy, and instead showing us Mount Ordeals. We do get the free character here in Porum that is not going to be taken, and will be showing us the 3 bosses and the key item checkup here pretty shortly.
Yeah, it is a key item check. This party is powerful enough that I can see what you were saying earlier about going ahead and making the hook dive when you're ready. But with a lot of other parties, I will want to full clear the overworld before I touch that hook route. So this Ordeals play isn't too shocking.
Yeah, I mean, we are only looking for 2 key items, so it would be tragic if you, like, for instance, skipped Baron in and it happens to have a Darkness Crystal or something. That would not be ideal.
It certainly would not be. It would be rough. Unfortunately, that's true of any location. Baron in, and one of the reasons Ordeals will get skipped, even when it could be the key item, is that you've got to go through 3 fights to get the job done.
Octopus fans, please look away from the screen. This is not going to be pretty.
Calamari being served up on Mount Ordeals.
It's too bad Rydia doesn't start with the fire spell, or else we could fry him up. But unfortunately, story reasons, no fire one.
Rydia with the lightning one kill steal.
Yeah, I do wonder what Eykir's end game character strategy is right now, because edges are not great to anchor for the final fight. So I wonder if he is going to be looking to replace one of his characters with an anchor later on. There are characters available that we can take that we have seen players in this tournament kind of leave characters where they know in order to save them to be fresh anchors later.
It's one of the rudest gauntlets. It's the back attack gauntlet. This fight's bad enough going through it once when you have to sit and watch the enemy get free turns, but each one of these gauntlet attacks is going to have a full round of swings before Eykir gets to take any actions.
You get a turn, and you get a turn, and you get a turn, and you get a turn.
It's so rude. It is such a time sink.
I mean, once you've already made the routing decision, you kind of can't afford to nope out of it.
Yeah. You're here, you might as well just accept your fate and get on with it.
Always check the Cave Evelyn shop, everybody. Bacchus and Siren for sale. That's going to save some time. We can see PixelTamer wasting no time, purge the inventory to see how much of this he can buy right now and not have to come back later.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. On S standard, the gated shops are where tier 5 items come into play. Bacchuses and Sirens, for example, also hourglasses and coffins. And Eblin is guaranteed to have 2 tier 5 items.
We see Eykir showing off the alt gauntlets. We don't do random encounters too much in Free Enterprise, so you may forget they put a whole bunch of enemies on Mount Ordeals that are weak to fire, and but then the ghosts absorb it. Just a little nice troll the developers put in.
Had to have some mix when you're climbing ordeals, I guess, other than just spamming Fire 2 in every fight.
And then they don't let you exit ordeals because they want to show off how awesome your brand new Paladin Cecil with Holy Sword deals against these enemies.
I mean, you need to get some levels on him. You don't want to go into that Baron Inn fight that's the next stop in the vanilla with just a level 1 Paladin, and this is as good a spot as any when he's rocking a Holy Sword. PixelTamer struggling a little bit with the Staleman, but gets through, gets everyone up at the end for the XP, and finds some more Zeus gauntlets. All these ninjas around, you can't complain.
And the Staleman chest can be pretty scary, especially since we have not seen hourglasses yet. They have a chance to put you to sleep on hit, and if you get unlucky, it can be very frustrating, and you can take a wipe very easily.
Yeah, nothing worse than getting sleep locked and watching the one person you still have surviving wake up just in time to be put back to sleep.
Yeah, and it's one of those fights that really shows off how weird the damage formulas are in Final Fantasy IV, because like sometimes the Staleman will hit you for single digit damage and sometimes they'll hit you for like 600.
Well, you've seen the back part of the hook route now. We've got Asura in the Rubicante spot and a vanilla legend sword on Ordeal.
Ooh, that Legend Sword makes things a little spicy. If you can find the Adamant, that will save you a lot of time not having to dive the Lunar Subterranean to do the Crystal Sword altar.
Yeah, especially if you find a pass on the way. Just raise the big whale, run the hook route, call it a day.
The item stacking for Edge just won't stop. We do get a free longsword here in Cave Evelyn, so we got boomerangs, we got Zeus gauntlets, we got a mute dagger, we got all sorts of stuff for him. And the mute dagger is actually going to be quite helpful since we know that Ashura's down there waiting.
Yep. She is one of several bosses that are mage types, and the mute dagger is going to let Edge deal quadruple damage, and that quadruple damage will carry over to whatever ninja sword he's holding in his other hand, or maybe full moon.
Yeah, remember we were talking about how weird the damage calculations are in Final Fantasy IV? That's it's a strange game under the hood.
Yeah, there's a lot going on just with damage attack formulas, some of the resistances that the bosses have and when, and don't get us started on agility anchoring. We'll still be talking long after this siege is over. Eykir taking care of some overworld shopping after ordeals. PixelTamer is charging through Upper Babil, headed for that Asura and whatever awaits before.
Eykir finds a mute knife in Silvera as well, so could go into the Ashura fight a little bit better equipped than PixelTamer could. I don't think Pixel went to Silvera at all.
No, Pixel didn't do much shopping. Pixel said, I've got ninjas, I've got a strong team, I'm going to try and charge through and make the aggressive move. And as long as he can get through, it's a good payoff.
And Pixel now taking on the runner favorite Format Ogre's chest in the upper tower. The reason this fight is so good is with so many enemies, it's easy to life glitch. You can get basically double the experience of this whole battle.
Yeah, and that mute knife can take advantage of the fact that these are also mage type enemies. For anyone that doesn't know how the life glitch works, when you use Life Wand either by spell or by potion on a target, they come back with an amount of hit points that's based on their vitality stat. However, the monsters in Final Fantasy have 0 vitality, so they are revived with 0 hit points if you can land the life potion before the sprite fades away, and then they immediately die again. And even though you don't see that happen on screen, you get XP as if you had killed them another time.
Eykir showing us gets a Murasame from Fabul. That's going to be nice damage output. But yeah, these Mad Ogres, they're kind of twofold because they give a lot of experience. You can life glitch 3 out of the 4 of them, and they take extra damage from both mage attacking items and ogre attacking items. So yeah, racial bonus damage is a thing in this game, and sometimes the races that the enemies are not immediately apparent.
Eykir is through Fabul and will definitely appreciate that Murasame. Roses up to those lovely Blink and Berserk spells, which are that major checkpoint for her. So it would take something exceptionally rude in the King Queen Evelyn spot to be troublesome here.
Yeah, and I got a count there. Pixel bought 2 sirens, and that's good enough. If you're low on money, you can get underground, and popping 2 eggs right away can be extremely helpful for helping you clear pretty much most of the underworld. You'd be surprised how far just 2 eggs can go.
Dathis was calling for Wyvern. No Wyvern here. Interestingly, if Wyvern had been found, that would have been an immediate cue to PixelTamer that the Magma Key was somewhere on the overworld. Wyvern is one of 3 bosses that is not allowed to block your only route underground, the other 2 being Golbez and Valvalis, and we've already seen Golbez in Baron Castle.
You know, we were joking about the edges before, and people were saying, oh, Edge in Baron Inn would be great. There's a 4th edge in Baron Inn. Along with the Moon Sparkle, so we'll see what that is. We're going to get a Plague, not the lowest HP, one of the lowest HP boss spots in the game, so there, goodbye. Don't even see a single count. That's great. And you're right, if PixelTamer had seen a Wyvern there, that I would be extremely worried if I was about to dive in the hook route and saw a Wyvern.
Yeah, I would turn around and be like, maybe I could just forge. Crystal Sword Altar can't be that bad.
And the second boss in Baron Inn ends up being Dark Knight Cecil. This is basically no threat at all. Eykir has edges with a good amount of HP and has Cure 2s in the inventory, so this is just going to be wait, hear the Pain Manifesto, and collect your key item.
Yeah, it's a scripted fight. Take 3 waves and you're done. And this spot doesn't even award any XP, so you don't have to even consider tossing life potions at the end to get anyone up and running.
Just a rat tail, but we will be able to turn that in for another key item. So it can't be, could be nothing, but it is a little bit more of a time sink than just getting something directly.
Mm-hmm.
Team up.
And Eykir seems really committed to clearing out the overworld before going down the hook route. I know those feels, so I expect we'll be seeing that rat tail turn in shortly.
PixelTamer is showing off. Here we get the wall on Ashura, so she can't heal herself. Definitely helps with this fight. Kind of the vanilla method of how you're kind of intended to beat Ashura as well.
Yep, and she's going to counterattack every time she gets hit by anything. And as you can see, it's a bit punchy in this spot.
Yeah, luckily Pixel has already gotten Berserk and Blink on Rosa, so gonna be able to use her to great effect here. So definitely loving this play. Made sure to get those spells before coming down here. We do find just a Sand Ruby from the Rat Tail turn in, so I doubt we're gonna be seeing that character checked.
Anytime soon. Eykir has no more key item checks available and is now going down that hook. Oh, no, not going down the hook route yet. Gonna check on Castle Eblin first.
Yeah, I'm sure it's also looking for some Rosa levels. It's kind of, I don't want to say super scary, but as you can see on Pixel screen, those white magic spells are helping a ton with this Ashura fight.
And MechaLink rightly pointing out that there is a possible check still in the overworld. If you find the D-Mist boss and defeat her, then Rydia's mom appears in Village Mist and hands over a key item. This replaces the free key item that you get from Edward. So if D-Mist is either at the package spot, at the Mist Cave, the waterfall, or tucked away at the Magic Sister spot in the Tower of Zot, then there is still an overworld check.
Eykir showing off the Sylph glitch. We do have that allowed in this tournament. The Sylph spell actually just checks if you have enough MP to cast it. It doesn't take that MP away as long as Rydia is not in the center spot.
Yep, and as long as the spell hits, which is not a consideration unless you're up against something like Novalis.
Yeah, it actually did miss that Lamia, but luckily there was still one of the curls there.
PixelTamer underground in about 25 minutes, and we'll have one objective out of the way. The aggressive move, having faith in the strong power of the characters in the overworld, is paying off.
Yeah, especially since we know that Eykir hasn't been able to pick up much. Now, the Legend Sword may end up being a game changer later. We just don't know if it's going to pay off.
Yeah, Crystal Sword Altar is one of the lower Moon Boss spots, but it is still a Moon Boss spot. Our Job Dwarf is a math professor. But there are definitely some rude possibilities at that Crystal Sword Altar. Gauntlet comes to mind. You have the Fatal Eyes, you have blue dragons. It's not a pleasant.
Yeah, it's anytime you have a moon boss in your objectives, it has to be in the back of your mind a running total of the bosses you've seen and which ones could still possibly be that objective boss, because I mean, it's not. Our players are very familiar with the Zeromus fight and what they need to complete it, but there are definitely bosses that could be on the moon that could give our players more challenge than Zeromus.
Oh, absolutely. PixelTamer checking on the loot in Cave of Summons. T Wildish that's being used for this race is a weighted distribution flag, which means that spots like Eblin Castle and this spot that have trap chests in them are more likely to carry higher value loot. Also, the fact that this area is gated by underground access, increases the potential to get good loot.
Yeah, and you will see a lot of players looting Feymarch just because there's only one trap chest in the whole dungeon, and it's extremely treasure rich considering there's only one trap that you can run into. Unlike Sylph Cave, which has 7 trap chests, and we do just get a white shirt from the vanilla rat tail chest. Still going to be good. I'm sure we'll be going on Rosa but not good. We'll see if Pixel peaks the bosses too.
Yeah, I am wear Team White Shirt for your mages. Give them that wonderful defense and that boost to their spell casting. Some people are on Team Sell White Shirt. That would not be me.
Samurai arrows for sale. Not too bad if you want to turn your Rosa, who already has a samurai bow, into a better physical attacker.
Yeah, could be an option. PixelTamer just passing up on the shopping for now.
Our players are in deep trouble if they have to fight that Kanazo. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Kanazo at Leviathan spot. Oh my goodness, that spot is a very strong attack and a lot of hit points, and Kanazo's wave is going to cause a lot of pain there. If that's where the darkness crystal is, we are in for a time.
Yeah, that's going to be time to go steal some sirens and do your grind now, even though it hurts to grind with so few key items. But, you know, I might actually have been tempted to check that Moon Sparkle to see which boss it was.
To look for the info. We've seen Plague, so we know it's not that, but that other sparkle could be anything from a angry and fast wyvern to okay, an angry fast wyvern. All of the other 4 bosses there are going to be some kind of rude.
Yeah, I mean, the kindest one would probably be Pale Dim, but otherwise,
yeah,
the rest are oof.
Yeah, Pale Dim would be what I'd be crossing my fingers for if I was obliged to take that fight. But yeah, Ogo could be rather rude. Wyvern's definitely going to be rude. That's a very fast spot, and you still got to deal with his nukes afterwards, most likely.
And Pixel now going to show off Dwarf Castle. Dwarf Castle early after getting underground has been a pretty standard play in this tournament just because we do have the warp glitch on, so you get 2 free items for the price of 1, basically. You do have to fight 2 bosses and sit through a cutscene to get it, but players have been finding that to be definitely worth it.
Yeah, and with the firepower that PixelTamer is rocking. Oh, hey, speaking of sparkles and places where Wyvern would be rude. Hello. Oh, but it's Ogopogo.
Yeah, I mean, Ogopogo's a troublesome boss, but it's actually very nice to see Ogopogo here, in my opinion.
And if PixelTamer doesn't manage to get through this, he might swap an edge to that anchor spot. This is one of the slow spots in the game, and typically if you put a fast anchor on when you are up against a slow boss, it'll play out for you better. But he could very well get through this fight now as is.
Our tracker Mechalink is pointing out that Eykir actually bought a lot more sirens and Bacchus wines than Pixel did, had more money to play with because had done more looting in the overworld while he was doing those checks. So that could pay off big time once he's underground and can crack a few eggs.
Yeah, he's not going to have to loop back around to make another purchase. Would definitely be helpful.
You know, it's unfortunate. We saw PixelTamer's characters are all named after Chrono Trigger characters, and Fu was named New, which I find to be extremely stylish, but also not appearing in this tournament, just like the regular New in Chrono Trigger is very elusive.
Understands his theme well.
Yeah, I have a feeling here Eykir's going to have a much easier time with the upper tower bosses, so we're going to see a little bit of time save here versus Pixel.
Yeah, a little more power, a little more equipment. This is when you have to catch up. If you take that longer path anywhere to power up, you've got to make it up.
Yeah, it would be good for Eykir here if one of the items we need is buried on the moon, and that would, I think, kind of guide Pixel to check the overworld before going to moon. It's no good to dive the lunar subterranean before you actually know that you have to go there. So hopefully that will lead Pixel to waste the same time on the overworld checks as Eykir did.
Yeah, as the world starts opening up, it becomes a matter of what check do you take in what order. PixelTamer taking Dwarf Castle quickly, for instance. But Sheila 1 is still on the table. It could have value. That Fey March can just kind of sit there and wait. Oh, PixelTamer landing Odin on the Dark Imps. Nice swag.
Yeah, you love to see it. So you got to know niche strats what you can pull out. We did see Pixel did take that Tella. This play could go either way. I guess it depends on what grind you're more used to and what you think will be faster. We're pretty far in the seed, and a lot of Tella's usefulness is behind us. So I think he may be taking him just to make sure he has a good anchor for the Zeromus fight at this point.
Yeah, could be anchoring. Could also PixelTamer didn't buy the huge amount of sirens and might prefer to do a D machine grind than to run the sirens. Tal's also got some incredible utility if he doubles back and goes up ordeals. Learns a lot of very useful spells.
Just a Dragoon Spear from that warp check, so we'll see what the actual key item here will be. That Dragoon Spear is probably going to be sold for money for sure, since we haven't seen Kane at all. It's getting late. We do get a tower key, though, from Dwarf Castle. That's going to open up another double check, so I can imagine Pixel will be heading there pretty shortly.
Yeah, and that Dragoon Spear has two fates, possible fates. Either sold in a shop right about now, or kept on hand to throw in somebody's face as a
Wow, even selling the rune armlet. Yeah, so Pixel is definitely wanting maximum amount of money right here. Does find hourglasses in the dwarf shop. That's not bad at all. So we've kind of found all of the J items that we really like to see: hourglasses, sirens, Bacchus wine. We're really set up now for success, whatever strategies our characters or players want to use. Star Veils would be nice for some of the bosses, but otherwise we're good to go.
Yeah, coffins have a few niche uses, so you're going to have to find those in the gated shop as well. But certainly cannot complain finding sirens, hourglasses, and Bacchuses. Those are definitely the big three in my opinion. Eykir's made it through, and as you mentioned earlier, he's going to have a much quicker run. If you thought Short Sword and Mute Knife was, or Full Moon and Mute Knife was dealing heavy damage to Asura, wait till you see what Murasame Mute Knife does.
Yeah, I think Eykir's absolutely going to melt these bosses, which is going to be good. That's at least if it didn't get any key item payoffs from the overworld, at least there's this.
And if he just follows in PixelTamer's footsteps, then he's just trying to make up ground. But if PixelTamer ends up chasing this tower key down a rabbit hole that leads to no value, and Eykir manages to avoid it, then he could jump right back out. That being said, it's going to be tough to do. You'd have to Sheila 1 immediately, and I think at least he'll check the Fey March freebie before doing that, and it'd be perfectly reasonable to make the exact same checks PixelTamer's doing in the hopes of finding a pan before you make that self-cave dive.
Yeah, all these double checks the game's leading you to are hard to pass up, but it depends, I guess, on how confident Eykir is. A lot of times, if a player kind of feels like their opponent may have an edge on them, they may kind of make unorthodox plays in order to try to kind of juke a key item check.
Yeah, sometimes you make the spicy gamble if you feel that you're playing from behind, either because of how the seeds played out, probably not that here, or you just feel that you're up against a significantly superior opponent.
Well, Pixel is finding Baron guards here on top of the tower. Not awful to see. We'll be getting the party up because he didn't heal after Dwarf Castle, it doesn't look like. And we do see Tella is dead, so Pixel has picked up that Tella basically solely to be an agility anchor.
Yeah, and especially with the potential rudeness of that Kainazo fight, that's definitely a heads up play. Cyclor asking in chat, does Blitz stop Kainazo wave? Yes, it does. Any sort of magical attack that's lightning based, Blitz, lightning spells, Indra, Thor rages, Zeus rages, take your pick. Just tag him and the wave goes down. Now, if you're a little late, that wave might get queued up before you can knock the water.
And we see Eykir is already through Ashura and will be chasing PixelTamer down.
And Mute Knife doing good work on those Baron guards because they are also mage types. PixelTamer's trying to get an Odin to land, but it's missed twice. It's a finicky beast. Think at best with Odin, you're looking at a coin flip. And depending on what your Rydia's levels and stats are, it's probably worse.
When we get the payoff on the tower, that's the darkness crystal from the top of tower. So this is now we were worried that Eykir would do something different in order to get ahead, but now we'll have to hope that Eykir goes the same way.
I mean, immediate keyless tower would be a bold play. But again, having seen that it's a free fight, you could understand it. Immediately going after those Baron guards with their weakness to the Mute Knife.
Now, in this situation where you have everything you need in order to complete the seed, do you grind now and then go do the moon objective? Or do you go up to the moon, hope it's a boss your party can take in order to get the EXP from that to shorten your grind?
That's a good question.
Because we're in no way, shape, or form going to see 10 key items in this match unless Eykir goes
not.
way different places.
Getting to 10 key items for double up is not the thing. That is absolutely not the play. I think it depends on how you want to do your grind. If you're thinking, like, with that Mute Knife in hand, Warlocks might be on the table for the grind. If that's where you want to do your grind, you're not that far from Crystal Sword Altar. You can check it and then go do your grind. But if your grind is going to be farther away from the altar, then you're risking a bit of a time loss to head to all the way down to the Crystal Altar and then go do your grind if you can't take it. Hourglasses are going to make some bosses free, and thankfully Tella has exit, so we can at least warp out of the Crystal Sword Altar afterwards.
Yeah, now I had said earlier that it seemed like PixelTamer was just going to use Tella as anchor, but we see him going up ordeals, which signals to me that he wants the weak spell. That means we may actually, even though Sirens are available, we may actually still see a D-Machine grind or some other method here, because you don't strictly need weak for eggs or gold dragons. It definitely helps in the case of gold dragons, for sure. So it all depends on what grinds our players choose to do now.
Yeah, for those gold dragons, if you don't have weak, you better have something that takes advantage of that racial weakness that's been brought up before. Dragoon Spear, if we had Kane, Artemis arrows, if they were around somewhere, would help with that. Otherwise, weak needs to be the answer there.
We do see Eykir is taking advantage of these early sirens to crack an egg, like right here as we've gone underground.
And the fact that he's grinding now after seeing that Fey March makes me wonder if he's going to maybe take those fights. One reason to do this grind early is to be able to knock out those spots and not have to wait. And yeah, Gauntlet in here, as Chad is pointing out, is really annoying. It's one of the reasons Eykir took so long to get around, is that he's already cleared ordeals. And that's where the Legend Sword was.
Yeah, if you're Pixel in this situation, you have got to be impatient as heck during this battle, because you just wanted to get your old man a weak spell, and then this alt gauntlet is in your way.
But yeah, at least, as Chad is pointing out, the ninjas have options other than Flame to clear out the encounters, which is nice when those pesky souls show up.
Yeah, for sure PixelTamer is going to get through this fight faster than Eykir did at the time.
Eykir has taken care of the eggs that they want to, and will be marching on through the underworld. Picks up a few exits real quick, not having access to the spell. That's heads up.
Yeah, not interested in the illusions though. It's that's one of those items that we do like to see, but not wanting any today.
Yeah, if it's used as an item, it has the same effect as Blink, and even though you have Blink access on Rosa, it's nice not to put that much burden on one caster. Ninjas, by now, after those Siren grinds, probably have Image, so they can self-blink, but might feel he has enough in the way of blinks not to deal with that. Talthon's asking, how did Job Dwarf become a thing? Well, our very own Rex Rule submitted as a suggestion to change up the Job Dwarf. In the vanilla game, he simply says, I'm a farmer. And a lot of people are a fan of him. And the suggestion was made to give him a random job every seed. And the staff went, hey, that's a great idea. And they made it happen.
We see Eykir is going to Dwarf Castle here, going to be checking the shop, and actually wants to do some looting as well. And we can hope that Eykir will go to the tower after finding that tower key here.
Yeah, I suspect that that tower key is going to pull him in that direction, just as it did for PixelTamer.
Crystal Armor here is going to be solving a lot of your money issues right away.
Yeah, definitely. Crystal Armor is not terribly prized gear. It's so expensive because it has incredible defense, and it can only be worn by a paladin as its first strike. And its second strike is that it makes its wearer immune to Berserk. So it often gets turned into a huge pile of cash real fast.
Yeah, so now this is basically going to be a race to see which runner gets their grind done fastest, and how they do in the Z fight, because Eykir's going to get the tower key here. Hopefully we'll go check it, and then we'll be in the exact same position as Pixel.
Now we'll get to see where PixelTamer goes next. I mean, Smart Money is setting up the D Machine grind with a Newman in it, but what I think is smart money often gets proven wrong.
Yeah, chat here discussing the crystal sword. We haven't seen a Cecil, and I would very much think that unless Cecil is on the moon and the grind has not been done yet by a player, that we will not be using him. But also, you would think, oh, what? Well, can't Edge throw it? No. For some reason, Edge cannot throw the crystal sword. The programmers of Vanilla Final Fantasy IV decided they were not going to let you throw that sword away. They'll let you throw the Excalibur away, which has a big side quest associated with it, but they do not let you throw the crystal sword.
If Pixel still had that crystal sword, I could see him making character checks, looking maybe for that Cecil. We haven't seen the package character, and slingshotting Cecil off of that D machine grind would be pretty ridiculous with the crystal sword in hand. For those of you in chat wondering what I mean by slingshot, there's a catch-up experience mechanic in the randomizer. Once you have a full party, if you have a character who's 5 levels behind the median level for your party, then that character gets double XP until they get caught up. And for a grind like D Machine, where you get all of the XP in one chunk, that can be huge.
And speaking about the grinds, Eykir actually denied the Tella here, so we can see Eykir is definitely committing now to a Siren grind, most likely because Rydia does not have weak yet, so D machines are out of the question.
Yeah, and he has solid anchoring options. If he's just going to go Trizerk on the ninjas and Cure 4, he just curses Rydia with the Curse Ring and doesn't even care. Even if he is trying to take Rydia all the way up to Nuke, which seems unlikely but is possible, then he can probably put Edge at Agility 42 and be fine for Zerones.
Pixel did find a Soma drops in an item shop and bought one. Not sure. It's got to be for Rosa, I would think, but
No.
who knows?
Pixel still has Tella, and I dare say that that Soma drop isn't for Swag Medio, but it's probably to give him 4 weeks on a full tank rather than 3 for the upcoming D Machine.
And that just shows the power of the D Machine grind, that even in a seed where Sirens are available for sale, you have players choose to do D Machines instead.
Yeah, and it's even been made a little more difficult than it used to be. We have the can't run flag on, and the chart to find the D Machine fight in the Giant used to rely on saving in there and running from encounters until you get to the right one and seeing what spot your first encounter was on to figure out how many more were coming. You can't run from encounters now, though, and those fights are a bit long. So now you go to a much easier zone and see when your first fight is and let that tell you what you have to do to find your D Machine. But even with those extra steps involved, it's still an option that's used often.
Yeah, and that's why you see Pixel flying the big whale over to Baron. Pretty rare to see it landed anywhere except Mysidia. And we see Eykir is going to the tower, so this is going to be an out-and-out sprint for that final objective once this Darkness Crystal is found. We do see Eykir does the cannon room first, which Pixel completely faded the cannon room because he went the top first, found the Darkness Crystal, and wanted nothing. It is a water hag. This is already pretty much a free boss spot anyways, so this is actually not what you wanted to see because the cutscene slows it down. We'll see if this the only way that doing the cannon room first can pay off for Eykir is if it happens to be an adamant.
Adamant would pay. It looked like 23 steps for PixelTamer, and if I'm right about 23 steps, then that means that PixelTamer needs to take 3 more encounters outside of Baron and then can go to the Giant and find their grind fight in the save room.
Yeah, not the fastest setup, but this is definitely a part of the game where you are beholden to luck. There's no way to determine your RNG seed, so you can get this in 1 battle or you can get it in 5 or 6 battles.
Yeah, and for the truly patient, the most number of steps you might have to take in Baron to get your first random encounter is 131. Most people will reset and try again before they count that high. Adamant, yeah, Adamant would be the big payoff here, letting you completely skip Crystal Sword Altar. Pass wouldn't be amazing, but also wouldn't be the worst. You could conceivably duck down out after the Crystal Sword Altar and have your save outside. If you're a little worried about your Z fight and whether or not you can take it, then coming to it from the pass is safer, especially with an exit in hand. But really, I guess I wouldn't hate Pan either. Darkness is going to be 7 key items. Pan could be 8, and then maybe, just maybe, 10 key items as a play on the table. I'm reaching, I know.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to have both Sheilas pay off, and I don't know if Eykir can afford to make a gamble like that at this point.
Yeah, Adamant is the one thing you're hoping for. But you understand, with him not at all knowing what's on top, might as well check the tower while we're at it.
Yeah, the top first is definitely the more common play, I would say, especially in a situation where you don't need multiple key items. You're only looking for one, but it's not wrong. You do have to sit through the cutscene if it ends up being a bust, but it doesn't cost too much time, especially with how easy the boss is in there.
Yeah, the top first gives you the information right away so that you can do as PixelTamer did, and if it gives you the one thing you need and you don't care about anything else, well, out you go. The other benefit is that if you don't care about the levels from the fight and the item is complete garbage, then you can reset down to a closer save and go straight to the cannon room instead of walking.
And we can see Pixel has gotten the Searcher and 2 Beamers fight. Because of that manipulation, he already knows this should be the D Machines, not the Centaurs.
Yeah, and aside from the massive amount of XP that a D machine is worth and the ability to life glitch, another reason that this is such a popular grind is that D machines are vulnerable to weak. So if you hit them with that spell, you'll take them down to single digit hit points and you can finish them off pretty easily. The other reason is that as long as you don't accidentally strike them with an attack that doesn't finish them off, the only attack D Machine is going to use is Fire, which is a hit point based attack. So even if you don't have much hit points, as this party does, you still have a good chance of surviving.
Eykir does gain the Earth Crystal from the Cannon Room, so I mean, access to the Armory is not nothing, especially since we're definitely going to be relying on these edges for a lot of our damage in the Zeromus fight. So we may actually see that Armory checked. I hope it pays off.
I suspect he'll make that check for exactly the reason you stated, hoping for more legendary ninja swords to make the party a little stronger. I think long swords have been seen for sale. I want to say mist weapon, but I can't swear to that, and that's serviceable. But you'd like to have ninja or legendary ninja swords possible.
You know, we can see with life glitches on these D machines, our players are pretty much looking for, like, depending on how comfortable they are with the Z fight, anywhere between 6 to 9 D machine summons, depending. But you can go as low as 6 as long as you life glitch both of them, and that will get all of your characters to Z levels. We are going to be looking for PixelTamer to kill Tella when it's time to end this fight, just to make sure he doesn't gain any agility.
PixelTamer might need more than 6 without the 10 key item double up bonus. depending on how high he wants to take that Rydia. But if he's opting for something more mid-range where he's just relying on healing up his ninjas and having them go to town, then that'll be about it.
We did get 3 top-tier staffs and a Masamune and a ninja shirt from that armory. So rate that armory, chat. Tell us what you thought about it.
Without throwing out a number, I'll leave that to chat. I do like that Masamune. That ninja shirt is some amazing defense for one of those ninjas. Makes the prospects of surviving a big bang much better, and you definitely like stat 6 on your mages.
Yeah, out of the physical attackers, Edge has the worst HP growth. So you, if Edge is your main berserker, you kind of have to baby him a little bit. Okay, and now who is going to be the character in the Lunar Palace?
Well, we know it's Cecil because a crystal sword was sold, right? Those are the rules. Sell the crystal sword to summon the paladin.
Hey, Eykir doesn't have like a good agility anchor yet, so it may actually be worth it to replace Rydia with Cecil at this point.
You definitely shorten your potential grind. You can get Cecil online a lot faster than Rydia. Oh, nah, just Mantella.
Yeah, if we had found a good anchor character here, the reason I say Rydia may have been dropped for Eykir is it looks as though we're going to be going for Berserk strategy, and there she goes, actually getting replaced by that Tella. So weak is a powerful motivator, y'all.
Week's a good motivator, and even though Eykir has probably bought some Bacchus, having a second Zerk caster isn't bad in that first round of the Zeromus fight. So,
yeah, and default level Tella is an amazing agility anchor, so which we were just saying that Eykir needs. So it's definitely, you may think, well, oh, but he's going to lose the offensive capability of Rydia, but in all actuality, Rydia takes forever to get to HP levels that can survive an unnerfed Big Bang. And if you're going Berserk strats, you're not going to get that much chance to manually cast nukes. So it's better to get a character that's going to help you speed up your grind and then just rely on your Berserkers when you get there.
Yeah, and it just takes her forever to even learn nuke to get to the point where you can even throw a couple in before she goes down to the unearthed Big Bang. So
yeah, it feels bad when your Berserkers are ready.
It just adds so much to your grind time trying to get her ready for a Z fight.
Yeah, it feels bad when your Berserkers are ready and like your Rydias has to throw out like viruses.
Yeah, virus is not what you bring a black mage to Z for. If they're still there for it and you're throwing viruses, okay, cool, but it's not what you were there for.
And we see Eykir's grind. This is good, kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Already knows he has to go to the Crystal Sword altar, so just decided to grind on King Ryu's down here.
Yeah, and this is an excellent grind. Even without the bonus for 10 key items, you're still picking up 30,000 off of each of these King Ryus, and the fact that they're in a paired formation gives you the opportunity to life glitch. Now, dropping Tell is a little interesting. I might have been inclined up here. Nope, Berserk. I might have been inclined to throw a week out.
Yeah, that is kind of the balancing act, because you really want to make sure your Tella doesn't get any experience, but if you have to like revive him and kill him every battle, I don't know. You definitely don't want to accidentally kill these Ryus, but as long as you're kind of careful and just cast the weak and wait, and then kill your Tella, then you're fine.
Yeah, and yeah, picking them up and putting them back down over and over, it doesn't feel good, but swinging away and picking away at these, especially when the Berserk ninjas that haven't been back row glitched, it looks like, have the audacity to go after the opponent in the back row for less damage. There we go. Even without weak, didn't take too long. And have your levels, have your 90,000 XP.
Yeah, and each one of these grind fights will be faster because unlike the D Machine grind, where you summon the same enemy over and over again in the same battle and get your levels all in one chunk, with Sirens, for either eggs or gold dragons, you are gaining levels as you go, so the fight becomes faster and faster as your characters gain power.
That's a very good point that applies to a lot of grinds where there are multiple fights in succession, such as the eggs we saw earlier. At first, Eykir was barely taking out the dragons in 2 swings, but as you progress with that, you start getting closer and closer to just one-shotting them and making your grind more efficient.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say there's not trade-offs because the D Machine grind does have the advantage of giving you absolutely ludicrous slingshots. You were talking about the catch-up mechanic earlier. If you have a character that can be slingshotted, because you're not gaining levels separately, it's all happening in one go, they can become absolute monsters just by getting slingshotted by the D-Machine fight, which we see PixelTamer is done with. Eykir is also done, or at least done enough to want to challenge this Crystal Sword Altar now.
Yeah, so reasonable stopping point. You're going to get that last little bit of XP.
And Eykir still has 10 Sirens in reserve in case he wants to do more grinding after this fight, which I think he will do at least a little bit.
Probably. And PixelTamer is just 1 level shy of Nuke on Rydia, and as chat's pointing out, Crystal Sword should get it done. Rydia learns Nuke at 50. Palom learns it at 52, but Rydia actually needs more XP to get to level 50 than Palom needs to get to 52.
Oh no, the Crystal Sword Altar is Vanilla Wyvern.
Not the worst. This spot has some very low magic power because in the game, the designers actually want you to have a chance of surviving Mega Nuke with an endgame party.
Well, we see Eykir does get the Star Veil off, so pretty safe now.
All right, so I take it back.
And actually, we saw PT forgot to turn off encounters after that D-Machine fight. That could have been an absolute tragedy. We've seen it happen where people get their party is knocked down. They're not healed up from getting the levels and the extra HP pool. They get a battle in the giant and they just get wiped before they can do anything. Because once again, you can't run. You have to kind of duke it out. But PixelTamer actually got lucky and didn't get a battle until it's already out of the giant.
So many of us have learned that one the hard way. I'm no exception. It does not feel good at all. Eykir did get 2 Star Veils up this time with the lower battle speed, and now is in the life race versus Wyvern bouncing nukes off walls to get through this fight.
Yeah, so Sheep Launcher is asking in chat, can you exit or smoke in this flag set? And if you mean from battle, that's a negative. There's no way to get out of a battle once you're in one. If you mean the dungeons, then you can never do that. You can't exit from Giant of Babel. It's just one of those dungeons that the game doesn't let you do it.
PixelTamer coming down and charging, and this is looking very close. It seems like it's going to come down to if PixelTamer can do a better job of bull rushing this Wyvern and if Eykir either A, feels like he needs to grind some more after this, or B, tries to go into Z and doesn't quite have the power he needs. This is still anyone's game.
Yeah, at this point, none of Eykir's party is safe from a high roll big bang, so I would be nervous to go into Z, but in this tournament, we've seen players go in at fairly low HP levels just because they're feeling pressured by their opponent, and they make some very bold plays. We'll see if Eykir thinks he has the levels or not, which I would expect on the way down to the final save point. We would see more gold dragons if he wants a few more levels, but he is through the wyvern fight. The item's not too important unless it's another ninja sword, but we will find that now. Meanwhile, PixelTamer is heading down to do the exact same thing. So this is going to come down to it's a power shirt, and not bad at all for this party.
Yeah. So you wanted a ninja sword, but could I perhaps instead interest you in a shirt that gives plus 15 to strength, making all of your attacks stronger, and because of that plus 15 strength, giving you 2 extra attack multipliers?
This is nice. This is nice. We see Eykir saving here rather than the lower save point. That signals to me that he is going to do some more gold dragons on the way down to that lower save point.
Agreed. And with levels in mid 40s, that's not at all surprising. I would not do this. I would not take this party into a Z fight.
Oh, this is going to come down to the wire. Based on the fact Pixel still has to do the wyvern fight and may need a little time setting up for that, I can see these players entering the Z fight like very close to the same time.
Yeah, and unless Eykir does a lot of grinding, Pixel's going to have the stronger party for the Z fight when the time comes.
And depending on what you have available for your party, your Z fight can be like 2.5 minutes long, or it can be 8 or 9 minutes long. So it's definitely not being safe from wiping does not mean being good to get through the fight quickly.
Yeah, it's more of a minimum reasonable threshold without relying on some more advanced strats. A threshold where you at least have a fighting chance if all you do is zerk up your warriors and wait for an unnerfed big bang and full heal the party afterwards. But a high roll by Threemus or some poor magic defense rolls on your side of things can take even a fight where you've got that chance and send it sideways fast.
Well, we can see this wyvern is no joke. The speed is crazy, and Pixel actually takes a wipe as well. Got a life off on Rosa, but then like a double nuke just took everybody out.
Pixel's hoping to outspeed the wyvern with a fast anchor, slow it down, see if that pays off. And sure enough, that fast anchor edge immediately drops a Star Veil, and so does the other ninja. I spoke too soon. And as Flurry pointed out earlier, telegaining some levels is not an issue with a cursed ring. In inventory, it's going to get Tella's agility down to a very reasonable number.
And just as chat predicted, those 2 apples, actually 3 apples, have all gone on Rosa. She is wanting that HP for sure.
It looks like Eykir might be ready to go. And yeah, Rydia dodged. Rydia, as you level her up, gets some pretty impressive magic defense. And for a moon boss, the magic stat here isn't that impressive.
A little bit of a swag quake on Wyvern. Even though Wyvern is a dragon and appears like it flies, it does not fly. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, and you're right. Eykir is heading down, so it's time. We have there's like a phrase that we'd like to say at this point, and chat is like putting all sorts of blue flags in chat.
Is it nap time again? It's afternoon nap time, isn't it?
Yes, it looks like it is time to ask whose butt are we going to kick this afternoon?
Ah, yes, yes, that's it. Zeromus transforms into his final form when that crystal that our runners have gone through so much work to acquire is used on him, and that's why it's needed for the final fight. You can't hurt him until then. However, there are over 460 different sprites, most of which have been put into the game by our very own Scala Kitty, and you don't know what Zeromus is actually going to transform to until you use the crystal on him. There are a lot of fan favorites.
Yeah, so we can see Pixel is now done, is warping out of the side room where Wyvern is, and we'll be heading down to enter the Z fight very shortly as well. So this is still quite close at really any screw up that would let you take a big bang before your party is healed up would be a lead change here.
Yeah, and these hit point totals are no guarantee. Rosa's got solid magic defense and can probably handle an unnerfed Big Bang, especially the weaker ones that only go up to a maximum of 2400. But a full force Big Bang could drop her. And even if the Big Bang only leaves her standing, it's going to be a fair amount of work to try and get the party back up and dealing damage if it's only her. Oh, it's River's Miss! Wow.
Feast your eyes, chat. This was a sprite that was made for one of our last tournaments. The finalists, Rivers, McCown, and Invenerable, both had sprites made of themselves. So it's pretty cool to see it come back. I was actually wondering about these a few weeks ago.
Yeah, nobody knew except Scala and Boardface, I suspect, who were the ones that put them into the match. We all, runners too, got a nice surprise in that finals match when Invenerable made it to the Z fight and found Riversmus, and Rivers made it and found Invenmus.
Yeah, I always say our community is one of the best within the gaming communities and speedrunning communities. But this just goes to show, we have a good sense of humor here in the free enterprise community for sure.
Eykir's fight is underway. His edges are swinging for about 2,000. One edge is throwing the darts. Initial Big Bang has already been nerfed. One of the edges took the counter nuke, and a nerfed Big Bang should be coming in short.
Yeah, with this party, I kind of like having two edges berserked and one darting, and that way, if something goes wrong, you have that edge who can still throw items in order to get your Rosa back up.
Yeah, keeping someone on hand as a chemist if everything goes south. If, especially if that's the edge that's wearing the ninja shirt, keeping him on hand as a chemist is a great. Here we have the first. Nope. That's still the nerfed Big Bang. So many Berserker actions. I was expecting us to have two Big Bangs already.
Yeah, the Z fight is going extremely well for Eykir. We can see definitely a pro, knows what he's doing here. There's always some bad timing. You could get a Big Bang into Meteor. That's always a little tragic. But we see PixelTamer entering the fight. So this is Eykir's game to lose here. So hopefully no whammies.
And Eykir's going for that third Zerker, hoping to get in enough swings to get past any more unnerfed Big Bangs. If he can take Zeromus to the hit point refill before another Big Bang comes out and then get through that next phase in similar fashion, then he's home free.
And we can really see those getting the Earth Crystal was not bad for Eykir because that's where those apples came from, and that is what put his Rosa into like a much safer HP level. His Rosa should only have like 1900 HP right now, not the 2289 that he's got. That's very helpful.
Yeah, if Eykir does see an unnerfed Big Bang, that could very well be the margin that keeps her standing.
And we can see Eykir's pretty confident here, just sitting, waiting on his Rosa, and has gone through a few phase changes here because we've seen a Big Bang skipped now. And it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, he got a little over 7k damage on that round. We have a shake, but if we can get a phase tip before that Big Bang fires, then it'll be just fine.
Yeah, it goes to show you how powerful having 3 Berserkers at once is. Like, that's kind of a really good threshold for the Z fight and makes it so Z will take way less actions. You know, and if you only had 2 Berserkers, you may see Eykir ducking into the spell menu while the animations went just to save ATB ticks, but there's no need for that with the 3 Berserkers. There is another Big Bang, though.
Here it comes. These rolls are the biggest rolls of the match coming up. And everyone is standing.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I believe at this point, Eykir will. There's the Cure 4, so safe from going into the Meteor phase. We'll probably not be seeing another Big Bang, to be honest.
No, this should just be cut straight through into Meteo and GG.
Meanwhile, Pixel's using a little bit of hybrid strats, showing off Rosa has white, is bouncing that onto Zeromus to get a little extra damage. A long animation cast means, though, that white doesn't save as much time as Nuke does.
Yeah, animation and a longer charge time, it's definitely a slower option for that. We did actually get a black hole. So after the Berserkers take their queued up attack actions, they're going to either have to start swinging manually or drink some Bacchus to continue to attack. But we have rocks.
There we go. With the party at full HP, Eykir is basically safe at this point, and we will be seeing a victory coming up here shortly with the time any minute now. It actually looks like Eykir turned the battle speed down as well, I'm pretty sure. Even swinging with the Rosa there. Pretty swag.
It's a bit swag, and he's getting the dodges in. And there's the flash.
That's right. GG's to Eykir here with the time of 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 46 seconds, securing his spot in the upper playoff round to get into the table.
And he had to win extremely close race to make it happen, just showing what you got to do to get through this last stage into that 3-0 player race. And we're joined by him now in chat. GG.
Oh, thanks. I'm not quite recovered from that end.
I bet.
So when you entered the moon, how far behind did you feel like you were after clearing the Earth and kind of striking out?
Well, when I went to the moon, it was go mode. I thought I might have been about even, but I didn't know how PixelTamer was going to grind. So, honestly, I thought we were about even, but I have no idea.
Yeah, it turns out Pixel skipped a lot of the overworld checks that you did. We noticed you made sure that you left no overworld check behind, which didn't pan out fully because you didn't get any like important key items. You did kind of luck out on the treasure end. Pixel skipped the cannon room. Pixel did the top first, so knew about the darkness crystal and just skipped cannon. But that armory actually treated you quite well, especially for your Rosa HP.
Yeah, there are a lot of good things in there that I needed. There's a Masamune, I think, or Miramasa for third edge, which helped his damage tremendously in that last fight. The white, did I get a white? No, I got the life staff for Rosa. Yeah, just so she could cure better. But,
yeah, lifestyle for Rosa. And I think there was a ninja shirt in that treasury too, and that may well have been what got one of your that ninja that was wearing it through that last big bang.
Yeah, I was glad I went there. I was thinking, do I have time to go here? There's got to be some good stuff in there. I need something for that third edge. So
Yeah,
I went. And
when the competition is this tough, like, what are you thinking when you go into a scene like this? Like, Pixel literally was only a minute and 15 seconds behind you. So, like, when you see objectives like this, what are you thinking when the match starts?
I thought two things first. One, oh my god, this is going to be a jet seed, and PixelTamer has won 2 of those that are like under an hour already in this part of it, the hook route. So I saw that's like if we have to go hook and we find the darkness and that's go mode, I'm scared because he's good at those. All my races have been long, like an hour and a half, hour 40 minutes. So I was worried. The other thing I thought was if we don't get the hook and we get like the legend and magma, what happens when you get darkness? How does that pan out? It didn't happen, so I didn't have to worry about it. But I was considering that possibility earlier too.
And we've also got PixelTamer in here with us, coming in just behind Eykir in a very good race. GG to you.
Thanks. Being a little heartbroken, to be honest.
GG,
understandable.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, both of your play was really, really top level here. It really just came down to how fast your grinds were and what key items you decided to fade, because you did both pretty much get funneled through. Eykir did a little bit more checks, and so I guess I'll say, Pixel, you were the first one to find the Kanazo in Feymarch. How are you feeling about potentially having to face that spot once your key item checks were kind of getting limited in the underworld?
I was very much hoping to not have to deal with that. Fast spot, and it's got a fair amount of HP, and it would have been unpleasant.
Yeah, the speculation when we saw that was, if that's where the darkness crystal is, we're in for a rude time here.
If I didn't face it either.
No, nobody wants that.
The tower key at Dwarf, because it pointed me in the right direction, because I was probably not going to do that immediately, and was probably going to go do Sheila 1 instead.
Yeah, that was ultimately the question. I mean, how much are you going to devote to clearing out the overworld before taking the hook dive? And where are you going in the underworld once you get there?
Yeah, at the end there, between Sheila 1 and Tower, my plan was to do Tower before doing Sheila 1 because I peaked the fight early, and I had those 2 mute knives on 2 different edges, so they were just going to destroy that fight.
Oh, I only found 1 mute knife.
I want to say there was a second one on the way in the hook route, unless that was the one you found.
I think the one I found was on the way down hook.
Yeah, I think there was one in Eblin Ave, but I couldn't tell you where the second one was, to be honest.
I know I had it going into Eblin Castle because that edge was also killing all the ogres really quickly too, and I forgot that you had it on.
I had the second Mad Ogre chest, but not the first one. So it must have been on the way down. But yeah, I'm trying not to just go over all the little things I could have done differently that might have added up to a minute 15.
Yeah, that's harsh. You can't help it. But I will say that you had a very good race, and even though you're 2-1, you still got the big play in, and based on how I see you run here, I would not be surprised to see you take that.
Fingers crossed. I'm down, but I'm not out.
Now, I did have a question for you, Pixel. You knew that sirens were available in the Cave Evelyn shop. Are you just more comfortable with the D Machine grind, or was it you didn't think you had enough money, or why'd you choose the D Machine grind?
Yeah, I was worried about the combination of money and not having anywhere close to 10 key items. I thought I would just be able to be a bit more efficient with the D machines. So then I spent like 3 or 4 minutes searching the overworld for ethers and didn't find any, and had to result with using psych on the other casters.
Yeah, and you had a unfortunate RNG on that D-manip. When you set it up, you drew one of the 3 squares, so you had to take 3 fights to get that D machine going.
Yeah, so many little things, they just added up, unfortunately.
Well, we've talked about your path forward, PixelTamer. Eykir, you've made it to 3-0. You get the smaller hook group play-in race to get into the table. Both of you, actually, given that a bigger group race is a somewhat different animal than a 1v1, are you planning on approaching it differently, or is it pretty much going to be a standard run for you?
I am going to try and just play it the same way, because it's going to be impossible to meta this, because only first place matters in this particular route.
Yeah, the fact that only one person goes on means you just have to play your best game. And you can, if there were 3 people, I could try to do weird things, but just play your best, do your thing.
Yeah, probably gonna have to make aggressive plays like diving hook super early, like I did today.
Well, thank you for coming along. I do want to thank my co-commentator, Commander Leonhardt, our restreamer today, Neobari, and our tracker Mechalink. Is there anything else the 2 of you wanted to say about the seed before we let our viewers go on?
I totally thought I was sunk when it was a jet seed. GG.
Yeah, GG's, close race, that's the best kind of race. Just wish I was on the other side of it. But I'm sure you'll do well in the 3-0 race.
Thanks. If not, we'll meet up in the 2-1.
Well, I will say we do have more races tonight. Let's see what we have in store for you.
Looks like we've got Gundam Pilot Spaz and Nitsky racing at 8 p.m. on one of our partner channels, RPG Limit Break, and come back here at 9 p.m. as well for King Potato versus RN Castro.
And of course, that's just the restreamed matches. We do have a lot of people in our community who are loving to pull up the Codgar link and watch the non-restreamed races and chat about them in the general voice chat. I've loved that practice starting up. And it looks like we are going to send you all over to Oscar424, who is doing some free enterprise. So enjoy and stick around and enjoy some more.
Yeah, and don't spoil the race for her or anyone else in her chat that didn't see it. But I will say that Asuka's enjoying learning the game and appreciates advice, so feel free to chime in with suggestions when you get there.